Wanted to begin this week by addressing a big criticism about last week's episode, which is, of course, that I forgot completely to make any sort of Shrek reference, thereby ruining our 4-episode Shrek streak. Now, while I understand that may have been disappointing for you if you're looking for Shrek every week, I want to make it clear, I think there's nothing less funny than Shrek jokes. Shrek's the memeiest character on all of the internet. You know, it's like me, like, look out for Big Chungus every week. You know, like, that can't be what delayed input is. This is a classy show. This is a highbrow show. So, to make up for it, I'm introducing my own original character. Check this guy out. This is Aldi Toire. He's an auctioneer for rare items. That's cool. He likes literature, history, and is perilously horny. There were a lot of video game headlines to choose from this week. This felt like a special week. It felt like the winds of E3 were starting to fill our nostrils. You know, it's just starting to smell like game excitement. A little bit. The headline I decided to go with is this one from Ars Technica. Valve is making a Switch-like portable gaming PC. Now, I'm not saying this is wild. Basically, this is the Caitlyn scenario, where 10 years ago, this would have been an absolutely crazy story. Today, it tracks. That makes sense. I want to go into the details about this. This is going to be an all-in-one PC with gamepad controls and a touchscreen. In other words, it looks and functions like a Nintendo Switch, albeit without removable Joy-Con controller functionality, which is, to me, a plus. I hate dinky Joy-Cons. They're the dinkiest little dink-dinks. Okay, I brought them in. I truly disdain these. I know you've probably, I just feel like it's worth demonstrating just how dinky they are. This is, what game console has ever asked you to put your thumbs this close together? Why would you even ask this of me? So I think it's, hey, Steam device, thank you. Thank you for forgetting about the Joy-Cons. We do have a name for it, actually. On Tuesday, SteamDB operator Pavel Jundik spotted the change in Steam's code, which pointed to a new device named SteamPal. The name is derivative of a previously discovered code term Neptune, which began appearing in September of last year and came with a Neptune-optimized games string. At the time, curious code crawlers thought this discovery referred to some type of controller. I included that part because I think curious code crawlers is good writing. That's fun. Alliteration in this kind of report? Pfft. Curious code crawlers. We 3 curious code crawlers. But yes, I think it's also worth drawing attention to the Neptune optimized game string part because that implies that there will be SteamPal optimized games for this console. Which, right, it should be worth stating, might not happen still. SteamPal might not be the name. This product may never get announced. You know, this is all still very early things going on here. But I love that name, SteamPal. I really do like it. Pal's a strong word. We could all use less friends and more pals. I want to own a SteamPal. I want to befriend a SteamPal. I want to belong to a SteamPal. It does appear as though Ars Technica has seen the actual prototype model of this device, though. At least one SteamPal prototype version is quite wide compared to the Nintendo Switch. This extra width accommodates a slew of control options. Don't say slew. Don't say slew. Curious code crawlers, yes. Slew? No. Valve is likely not slapping an entire QWERTY keyboard onto its system, in case you were presuming that. But the company has packed in a standard array of gamepad buttons and triggers along with a pair of joysticks and at least one thumb-sized touchpad, in addition to the device's touch-sensitive screen. So, the Switch has all that except for the touchpad. So the extra width here is what, for one little thumb-sized touchpad? How wide could that be? So wider than this. I don't know, dude. There's a certain, at some point, you're too wide. So based off of all this information, I did make a drawing of what I presume a SteamPal will look like. Super important part of this whole conversation, though, is that Valve is an unusual hardware producer. And that this is a software company that makes hardware sometimes. It doesn't really matter to them. Ars Technica brings up the Steam boxes, which they're hard to remember. There was a poorly conceived rollout. Just kind of happened one year and then, gone. Thanks for buying those. There was the Steam controller, which had a lot of unique ideas. I think it still has its fans. You can't buy that anymore. That's discontinued. And then, of course, there's the Valve Index, their VR headset, which I think is pretty successful. Hard to say, though. Hard to say. Valve's a private company. They can keep all their sales figures private. And also, they don't have to sell in any store besides Steam. And the Valve Index, you cannot buy in any store besides Steam. Sorry, Walmart? They're not giving you any percentage of that purchase. It's all going through Valve. And that's what I think is all kind of interesting about this. Valve has stinky, stupid money. Valve has DGAF money. They've got Counter-Strike Go working. Very popular game. Sure, that's making a lot of money. Dota 2? Sure. Somehow people still love Dota 2. But on top of that, 30% of every game sold on Steam is just revenue, baby. This is a ridiculous, we should not fathom how much money Valve is making on a regular basis. Epic is worth drawing a comparison to. Epic is also making stupid money right now. But I think Epic is doing maybe smarter business decisions, right? They started their own online store. They bought Rocket League and Fall Guys. Meanwhile, Gabe Newell's working on neural interfaces for your computer. Like, Epic's like, should we buy Among Us? And it's like, Gabe Newell's like, I want an app to control how much sleep I get. This is an article, I faintly remembered it. It's from The Verge. I had to look it up again. Humor me for a moment. Check out this line in reference to the dangers of connecting one's brain to a computer. Nobody wants to say, oh, remember Bob? Remember when Bob got hacked by the Russian malware? That sucked. Is he still running naked through the forests? Newell quips. Gabe Newell, by the way, president of Valve. I should have said that first. I think Gabe Newell might be the only funny billionaire in existence. And also, he's about to bring about the singularity. he's using that filthy Steam money to end humanity and bring on the next phase of our existence. I'm all for it, baby. But we should talk about this product. I think what's interesting is that Valve can make a Switch-like product that is not even competing with the Switch. They don't really care. Worth bringing up at this point, an article from Bloomberg that just dropped last night. They're keeping up on their Switch rumors that they've been reporting on for like a year now. Nintendo plans upgraded Switch replacement as soon as September. That's the new part of the scoop. That's coming this year. The Steam Pal might be coming this year. Also that, the new part of this Bloomberg scoop is that this new Super Switch would be replacing the Switch that's for sale right now. Switch Lite is still its own thing. That means potentially this fall we could directly compare Steam Pal and Super Switch and their performance, as I guess the Super Switch will docked be 4K and have this 7-inch OLED screen. So they're going to be two fancy things. Their companies have very different expectations for them. Steam can sell 100K Steam Pals, and they're fine. They're happy. Cool, that was fun. Thanks for buying those. Nintendo sells 100K, and that's a disaster. Like, what? Our stock! Obviously, Nintendo won't sell just 100K Super Switches. Obviously, they intend to sell many, many more than that. But I do feel like, on top of all of these things, an important discussion of feelings is there to be had. In that there's dread. Normally, hardware announcements are pretty fun. That's pretty exciting. Ooh, I should save up. Maybe I can get one of those. I think any exciting announcement about a Super Switch, though, or a Steam Pal, is kind of hindered by this reality that it's going to be very hard to get one of these. It's going to be difficult to beat the bots to Amazon or Target.com. I don't know, wherever you buy a thing, it's tricky to get in there, man. Harder than Pokemon cards. So it's a weird feeling, right? All I can describe it as is a feeling because it's a reality. What are they supposed to do? Right now, this is the weirdest thing, right? this planet is producing as many semiconductors as we can. As many chips as we can possibly make, we are making. Internationally. There's no factory that could be making chips right now that isn't. And it's not like you can just shout to the oven mitt factory like, hey, stop making oven mitts. We got enough of those. Start making computer chips. They can't. But looking forward at these upcoming E3 weeks, at these Steam Pal, Super Switch, even just trailers, man. Even just imagine, hey, maybe this is you. Maybe you want a PlayStation 5 and have not been able to attain one. Imagine the wincing you have to do at the end of every trailer. Just please don't be PS5 exclusive. Please. Ugh. A Final Fantasy Souls game, please. What can possibly be done? And the answer is nothing. It's all a kind of weird scenario where there's nobody to be mad at. Nobody's making a mistake. Everybody's doing what they can. I mean, maybe you could politely ask Steam to wait to make a Steam Pal until everyone can have one. I don't think that's a fair thing to ask. I don't really have any wisdom on this. But, as Aldi Toire would say, do you mind if I take a moment to imagine your privates? God, that just sucks. Oh. That's the episode for this week. Here's a quick scheduling note. So we've got 2 episodes left of the first season of Delayed Input, and the plan has always been take 3 weeks off in between seasons and then come back for another 8 episodes. And in the middle of those 3 weeks, do some kind of weird, unrelated, stupid video. I've come to realize, what am I thinking? The first of these 3 weeks off is E3. Any weird video I post is going to be like, okay, thank you, bro, for the toilet dance, but like, what did you think about E3? And I'm like wagging my finger like, no, you gotta wait a couple more weeks until Delayed Input comes back. That's just foolish. So I will do some sort of E3 recap video in between the 2 seasons. It's not gonna be labeled Delayed Input, but I don't really think that matters to you. But really, yeah, I wanna keep Delayed Input in its seasonal structure. I'll be back here next Thursday for another episode of Delayed Input. Hope to see you then. Thanks for watching. Hot off the press, hot off the grill. We got 2 big game announcements that are barely game announcements, and I want to address these. Talking, of course, about Dragon Quest XII and Sonic, new Sonic. I've talked about this before. Title reveal trailers, it's so hard to get these right. It's so hard for your actual title to actually mean something enough to carry an entire trailer on its back. Dragon Quest XII kind of pulls it off, because this logo is unique to a series that's now 12 games long. Every other time, that Roman numeral is fancy looking. Look at that Roman numeral. I don't know, buddy. I'm feeling this. It sparks the imagination. I'm looking forward to seeing more of Dragon Quest XII. Sonic, dude, what do you think? Sonic? It looks like your legs are shorter. Are you a child Sonic now? I can't tell if you're a child Sonic or just short Sonic again. That's the real, I don't know. Don't do Sonic. So let's rate the logos. Dragon Quest XII, 8.9. Sonic, new Sonic, 2.3.